The following was developed by public education agencies in association with the Agency for Instructional Technology. Together, programming for today's learner. All over the world, people use elements of the natural environment to meet their needs. Like bamboo, silkworms and their cocoons, but often the way they use the environment changes. For instance, this strip mine was once a cornfield and will soon become one again. Many times, people would like to use the same environment in different ways. Some people would prefer this shore be used for industry, while others would prefer it be used for recreation. This program will examine the question, how do people use their environment, by first focusing on Kenya, a country in the region of Africa, south of the Sahara. At least 1,000 years ago, powerful kingdoms, indicated in various colors on this map, existed in Africa. Not everyone lived in these kingdoms, however. Most people in the region lived in much smaller groups. European interest in the region began around 1500. Several countries established trading posts along the coast. In 1884, major European countries divided the region among themselves. Around 1960, African countries began to gain their independence from European powers. New countries were formed out of old colonies. By 1980, the entire region was independent of direct European control. In Kenya, north of the capital city of Nairobi, is Mount Marsabit. As this map indicates, Mount Marsabit is surrounded by deserts. But the mountain itself is covered with grasslands, farms, and trees. How do people use their environment? Peter Boru, his father and his son, talk about how people have changed their views of the mountain and how they have used Mount Marsabit in different ways. Peter's father describes how their people, the Boran, herded cattle in the region for hundreds of years. During the rainy season, they lived on the desert's edge, where new grass was available. They drove their cattle to water holes on the desert. During the dry season, the desert water holes dried up. The Boran had to move their cattle up Mount Marsabit to find grass and water. The only permanent water supply in the whole area was the well on Mount Marsabit. The Boran herdsmen viewed Mount Marsabit as an island of grass, trees, and water in the desert. Peter's father goes on to say that when the British controlled Kenya, they viewed the mountain differently. While they saw water as important, they also valued the cool mountain temperatures, so they built a town, Marsabit, on the mountain. Some of the homes they built are still there. Since Kenya became an independent country, the government has encouraged the Boran to become farmers. Because the mountain receives more rainfall than the surrounding area, it was viewed as the best farmland. This segment, filmed years ago when Peter was much younger, shows him discussing his future with his father. His father recognizes that farming will change the way Mount Marsabit is used. There will be more families staying here all the time. There will be a need for shopkeepers, bankers, doctors, and teachers. If you want to be a doctor or a teacher, you will need to go to school, he tells his son. Young Peter answers that he'd like to be a teacher. He agrees to go to school.
Instead of forward, what are you going to do? You don't work hard. Huh?
And he does.
You start to drive again down that Manyata. Cattle, camels.
Now, 15 years later, Peter Boru teaches school on the slopes of Mount Marsabit.
Are one of the nomads that do live around the mountain area. And they are sure that they could find water. And now you understand that we have got over 6,000 people living on the mountain area. And that's why the water problem has been there.
Today as in the past, people have viewed an environment with water as basic to meeting their needs and continue to be attracted to Mount Marsabit. Herders and farmers, nomads, and townspeople. Because all these people use the water of Marsabit year-round, other people view the area as attractive, like merchants, bankers, government and transportation workers, As Peter's father asked him, Peter now asks his son, what will you do for your work? I want to work with the water problem, to become someone who works with water. Now you've seen that in Kenya, the way people view their environment affects how they use it. How about in other parts of the world? In Japan, the use of the environment is also affected by the way people see it. At the Mazda Motor Company, where automobiles and trucks are built for export around the world, land space is running out. To solve their problem, the Japanese are using stone and gravel from a nearby mountain to fill in part of the bay. This new use of their environment will provide them with the space they need. In France, people view the same environment being used in different ways. Outside of Paris, a landfill is being used to dispose of garbage. One group of people views this as an improper use of the environment. Another group views the landfill as a partial solution to the city's waste disposal problem. In the United States, a train station in Indianapolis, Indiana, is being restored. This environment was once viewed as an important transportation center. Today, the building is a commercial center with recreation, hotel, and shopping facilities. In this program, you have seen how people's views of their environment affect how they use it. How are these people's lives affected by the way they use their environment?